Hello, everybody, and thank you for listening to our Introverted Lives. In today's episode, we're going to talk about more introvert facts. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you guys with repeating the same facts that we talked about in the past episodes. It's all going to be new content. So the first fact I have for you guys today is that introverts aren't risk averse, but they are more careful and calculated about what risks they choose to take. So in other words, in plain English, introverts, it's not that introverts don't want to take risks, and it's not like they avoid risks at all costs, but they are just more careful and calculated about what risks that they choose to take. Both introverts and extroverts have the same amount of dopamine in their brains. It's just that introverts use less activity from that region of the brain that generates dopamine. Since introverts use less dopamine, they rely more on a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. I'm very sorry to all you doctors out there if I mispronounce that word. That neurotransmitter is linked to pleasure like dopamine, the difference being that the transmitter lies on pleasure that is produced from turning inwards. So examples of that would be pondering, reflecting deeply, focusing on one task with great attention for an extended period. The neurotransmitter also influences one to prefer calm, quiet settings over loud, crowded places. Introverts also like the rain because it brings opportunity for solitude, and they like the calming effect of the rain. I know for myself, I like the rain. I know that oftentimes when it's raining outside, I will open a few windows just so I can listen to the soothness and the calming sound of the rain as it hits my house and as it hits the ground outside. It's very soothing for an introvert. Introverts pretending to be extroverted can affect their performance. Researchers have found that introverts acting to be extroverts showed slower reaction times on cognitive tests. It causes depletion that distracts and disrupts their usual performance. The reason being is that an introvert pretending to be an extrovert needs to think ahead. They need to think of the way they're going to act before they actually act it. Happiness is not always a top priority for introverts. They prefer to maintain a neutral emotional state when presented with tasks because happiness is an arousing emotion that might make introverts feel distracted and get in the way of performing the task effectively. Extroverts, however, use happiness as a motivator. I know personally in the past I've been asked, "Oh, how are you today? I mean, you look a little distraught. You look a little sad about something or whatever negative emotion it might be, but really I'm just thinking and really focus on a task at hand, so I don't really show much emotion while doing the task." This lack of emotion doesn't mean that I'm having a bad day or I'm sad about anything or mad about anything. It's just the way I am when I do a task. It's just I clear my mind and my body language of anything else that's going on, and I'm just focused on the task at hand. So the next time you see an introvert and they look bored, doesn't mean they are bored. Actually, they're probably not bored. Introverts can have fun without jumping all over the place. They are rarely bored, actually, because they are deep in thought most of the time. They can be absolutely thrilled while sitting still, and you wouldn't even know the difference. Also, if you're an introvert, you might be very good at poker. I'd give it a shot. It's also another common misconception that introverts like to be alone all of the time. They don't like to be alone all of the time. Like, they're human too. They like to go out and see new sights once in a while. It just might not be for as long as an extrovert or as often as an extrovert would go out. Introverts are easily annoyed by fake people. They don't understand why somebody would want to be the center of attention. Introverts won't answer the phone if they don't know who's calling. The uncertainty of the phone call makes them anxious. If you see an introvert that's quiet and observant, they're probably deep in thought. They aren't judging you. They might be quiet and observant just for amusement or to get a feel of what is going on around them. Introverts also get easily distracted. They might notice sounds an extrovert wouldn't notice, such as a leaking faucet or other low sounds that extroverts might not notice. I know for myself, I get easily distracted while driving. Me and my wife might have a destination in mind, and while we're driving, we're talking and everything, and my mind is more focused on a conversation than driving. So we end up at a different place that we weren't even supposed to go to. That's just one of my experiences. But I have an example of that just happened tonight, actually. It was my birthday today, and me, my wife, and my daughter went to go eat at my in-laws for supper. And I actually zoned out on my daughter eating right beside me. And my father-in-law was trying to get my attention. He can get my attention talking to me loudly, so he actually had to clap his hands real loud 3 times right in front of me to snap me right out of it. And that's just an example that happened to me today. It's not always easy to see the difference between an introvert and an extrovert. An introvert can actually act like an extrovert. The difference being is that an extrovert loves the attention that they're getting, while an introvert is looking forward to the moment that they can actually be alone. As always, thank you very much for listening to this episode. If you're listening to me on YouTube, please subscribe to this channel and click the like button below this video. You can listen to me for free anytime on YouTube. You can also download, stream, and listen to my podcast for free on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you all for the support.